Trouble, why don't you introduce yourself? You know me oh so very well. I get a taste and the world's a stage.
Beginning, she said, Pete, I'll do whatever you need. Right now we need about 10 minutes, so Clara Lofaro, who will be a star soon.
Thanks to everyone who stuck around the whole show and listened to all these amazingly talented women, plus Joe, if Joe's still here. So my guys are going to set up while I start with an a cappella number just to make up the time here.
The first time I met Clara Lofaro, she was performing in a room, Cafe Vivaldi. There were maybe 30 or 40 women having a party at the time she was supposed to perform, and I said to myself, this is going to be very difficult because the audience was very noisy, they were eating and drinking, and she sat at a baby grand piano in the corner, and I said, wow, this is going to be tough for her. Halfway into her first song, she had every eye in the house on her, and you could hear a pin drop.
Part-time shitty gigs.
Yeah!
You don't know me, though I'm falling. You don't know the way I cry. Tricky business trying to tame this. No relief and reasons why. Oh no. Finally proud that I found a home now. Thank you. Thanks to all the people that just walked in and paused for a second.
Honestly, that's why I kind of picked this as a place to start. This is a coffee shop called Crop to Cup. It's literally across the street from my apartment, but I felt like, you know, I do have an interesting relationship with music and where I see my life and my music, and where I live is kind of, maybe that's why I feel most at home here. But for example, just an example of what they do at this coffee shop, they're direct importers from small farms, and they go out to the farms and they pick great coffee from around the world, whether it's Africa, Egypt, India, and what the money that they make directly importing, the farms make, so helps to support their farms and put their kids through school. And it's just like, it's a living, it's when you can create something that makes you feel good and then can also bring out joy and help other people to live well as well, whether it's financially or through the spirit of music or whatever. That's like, if I could say my ultimate goal in my music creating, I want to observe people, because I can see music is supposed to relate to people, and it's a life force. It's not just me and what I've got to say.
And you also mentioned to me once that other artists have a way of planning their career and business plan, whatever, and you said you're going to divert a little bit from that, do something different?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the business side of me, I see the music business changing so much. There's no point in even getting into that conversation because it's clear. It's completely on its belly. It's changing so much. And so when I first got to New York, the thing to do, or when I graduated college, when I graduated Berkeley, the thing to do was to record an album, to do a radio campaign, to get as much press as you could, then book a tour, and I did that. I did that a few times. I write fast. I write a lot, and I've done the small venues across the country, you know, in Canada too and stuff, and I felt like this is great. Like, it was an experience. I learned stuff, but this is not what's going to get. I felt it. This is not what's going to get me forward. I could play these cafes till I'm blue in the face, and I'll get a fan here and a fan there, but this is not the whole picture. And then I go and hang out at places like, you know, Rockwood in the city, which is probably, if there was a hang spot for me, would be that, surrounded by amazing musicians, people I admire very much. And I see kind of people I always do this thing where I stand in a room or I'm in a situation and I take myself out of it and I kind of observe as an outsider.
I do that a lot.
And I think this is good right now. This is fun. This is creating music. This is no strings attached. This is great. But this is not like 10 years from now or even 5 years from now. I'm not going to still be here. It doesn't. It's not going to sustain me again. You know, it feels good. This is right. It's a sense of community.
From Crop to Cup Coffee in Park Slope, we walked up the hill to an apartment/studio, and Clara Lofaro wrote a song for the movie entitled Hurricane.
Hey! Been waiting to meet you for a while. This is the only road I'm. No, this is the only road I'm taking. Hurricanes won't shake me. We could write like this epic big, because he's got a really epic kind of style, rock pop kind of thing. That's about really like owning it. This is your own, like, that's really hard to do, writing an epic pop song that doesn't just feel like whatever. You know? I lost it already. And this is not cheesy, is it? What we're doing, like this, the sentiment of it?
Not yet.
Okay.
We still have time.
No, because it's so funny. Like, I'll write songs like this for other artists, but it is a very, it's a thin line between creating that thing that really does give you chills and something that's just trying to, you know?
E flat, E flat, to F, I think.
Let's just put it in as filler for now, because I know that we'll think of perfect lines. It's just I feel a little. They say a hurricane will take it all. It's my time. It's my break.
And let's think about the hurricane thing. Maybe you go back to like, they say I only last a moment. They say I'm here and gone. I'm just, it's kind of like you're a flash of, hurricane's there, it does its damage and it's out the door and it's a faded memory. All these things that you worry about as an artist, it's like, I'm only going to have my one hit and then I'm going to be done forever. It's kind of like, your wind dies down or, sorry, I'm just vomiting ideas here.
No, this is good, actually, and that's actually what brought me to the idea of Hurricane. Like, I'm pivoting off of you now, but the idea that everything you set up in your life, in a second, can be taken away from you. Just when I'm, then I come in blazing or something. No, you stop destruction, captivate, then I'll fade away. Thinking I'm trying to rhyme with lonely.
Think you can hold me?
Ooh, you think you can hold me? Keep on struggling. This is the only road.
No, don't hold only.
This is the only road. Okay, keep on struggling. This is the only road.
There you go.
Okay, got it. That's it.
All right, from the top.
1, 2. They say you gotta be stronger. Fight for it if you wanna win, no matter how lonely. It feels to keep on struggling. This is the only road I'm taking. Hurricanes won't. This is my time. It's my break. They say a hurricane will take it all. It's my time. It's my break.
let's talk about your lyrics for a minute. I listened to your album Perfect World for the last month, every day in the car. And I hear shit on those lyrics that is so poignant and so autobiographical. And everything from waterfall to falling, fall, is it fall or falling? Fall. To fever, to tractor, poignant lyrics of life. And this fall song scares me a little bit. It's about being out on a ledge and don't jump, and I didn't mean for you to be there. And tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. I wrote that song in an apartment in Bushwick, Brooklyn. I didn't even think that it was album worthy. It's one of those moments where I was really intense and just kind of all flowed out of me. And honestly, I thought I don't know if the word is heroine, but the subject of the song was my mom. I think all my childhood I kind of was my mom's protector, and kind of always had this feeling like I needed to save my mom. And then as I grew older, I think I actually, honestly, sometimes my songs teach me things.
They teach me things, even now, yeah.
But like as I write them, especially when I'm coming from that deep place, later I realize really what it was that I needed to sort out, because I feel this sense of peace when I'm done, but I don't necessarily know why. It wasn't until I think a couple years later that I listened to the lyrics of that song and I realized, wow, the person that I want to save is the child in me. It's me. It's I've always been a very smiley, happy person, had a big spirit, but I've actually struggled a lot with depression in my life, and I had suicidal thoughts, a lot in my life, which is kind of embarrassing to say on camera. But everybody's got their, honestly, like, I don't think I'm special because of it, but I can definitely say that I have significantly struggled with this in my life. And it's been the one thing that I was never able to conquer. I was able to leave home. I was able to support myself. I was able to put music out without, support. I was able to do. But myself, my pain that I carried around, I was not able to overcome.
Now, your career is pretty much on a pretty good upswing. Have you become a little more, how should I say it, less depressive, or do you feel a little more comfortable in yourself, in your career? Are you a little more, how do I want to say what I want to say? Your self-esteem, your self-confidence, is that kind of overcoming a lot of this stuff?
I'm going to be totally honest?
Yeah.
My depression was so bad my whole life, and I won't tell you details about it, but I never knew if it was worth going on. I never knew. I wanted to see my 30th, my whatever birthday.
Wow.
I never knew. It's like more life was pain, or I never know, like, I don't know if I want to have kids because is life really a gift? Like these kind of things. And so the one thing I never knew was whether I could get past this and whether I could want to live and I could, like, really, I mean, this sounds really dramatic, but it's really something that I never spoke. And you asked me to be honest with you in this interview, so I'm being honest. But that was at the core of me, and that I carried around with myself. And I was living kind of on the surface and trying to hide that all, almost like hiding, broken glass, in your knapsack or something. And I did. I finally overcame it, and I swear to God, I never thought I could.
Well,
I would read books and psychology books and or books about people who had suffered from that, and like really try to understand and say, am I ever going to see a way out of this? Because I don't know if I can live this way. And I swear to God, I finally, not to bring God into it, but I did. This is the biggest gift I think I've ever had in my life.
it's spectacular.
And my life is different for it.
And I told you this before, but people who have
This is really, this is embarrassing to say this on camera. I can't believe I'm
but
sharing
you know what?
this, but-
You're going to feel better after you do
Okay.
it. And
You say
I
so.
know because I know what you've told me, and I know about your past and some things, and I told you this. I think maybe in one of our other interviews in this film, you have not only overcome it, you have become the person that most people don't when they suffer like you have.
Oh,
And it's amazing. It really is. And you once told me, you said, Pete, I'm not this smiley, happy girl all the time. I'm really strong inside. And I know you are. I know you are. I can see it. And you've overcome a lot. That's all you get.
You burn the pictures, you watch them crumble, you caught the fever, now it is gone. You call me princess, though indirectly you did. I caught the fever, now it is gone. It is gone. It is gone. I caught your